The grapevine snail has a very unique feature. It has only one defensive protective reaction to the stress – death. It just dies. There's no other ways for it to defend itself. To ensure that snails do not have stress, Kostiantyn Kasich wakes up every day at 6 in the morning and washes, feeds and collects the shellfish that creep along the walls of the enclosure overnight. They run away during the night and sleep in the daytime. The snail business helped this ATO veteran to start a new life after demobilization. In March 2014, Kostya received a draft notice and went to the war. I left a big business. This was a group of companies and I earned a decent income. I made a decision that I did not want the Russian wall to come into my home and that my children would have to live under bombing. Kostya was born in a family of servicemen. He graduated from the Donetsk Military University. Later, he served and left the service as a senior lieutenant. He did not tell his parents about his decision to join the defenders of Donbass. His mother and father found out that Kostya was already fighting on the front line when they saw him on TV. Dad and I were surprised because for health reasons he could not fight, but he said he wanted to defend his homeland. He fought in the 72nd Brigade, which is now known as the Brigade of the Black Zaporizhians. Since 2014, this military unit had seen some serious combat action. It defended Mariupol and Volnovakha, took part in battles on the Ukrainian-Russian border, defended the Donetsk airport, and rescued the battalions from the encirclement near Ilovaisk. This is war. Of course, there was fear. I understood that I may not return home alive or lose my limbs. The most terrible battle for Kostiantyn took place near Dmitrivka. The village was the key high ground for controlling the border strip. Without taking Dmitrivka, it was impossible to conduct any military operations. At the time of the start of our soldiers' attack, the village was occupied by major enemy forces, around 300 soldiers. It was a night battle, a fight against much bigger enemy forces. It so happened that we were completely surrounded. There was a shot from the tank, and after that I cannot recall what happened. I went down. That's it. Kostiantyn woke up in the hospital. His entire body was in excruciating pain. He had many thoughts in his head. I really did not understand anything at all. It was a very serious concussion. Something seemed to be wrong with my head. I did not go insane. In fact, the problem was in my blood vessels. The mother was informed at once about the fact that her son was in a hospital. At that time, she was at work. The woman immediately took her stuff and went to Kostya. I came to the hospital. I did not even recognize him. I passed by him and just heard the voice, "Mom." Oh, this was my son, lying thin and pale. It was very hard. A long period of rehabilitation began. Kostya had to recover not only physically but also psychologically. Back then, he did not know what hurts more, the body or the soul. His relatives advised to contact a psychologist because they saw that Kostya had changed. When Kostya came back from the war, he cried at night. The first time was very hard. He became more rigid. We had a very affectionate son. But here he became so stiff in his character. He also was under very nervous stress. Kostya understood that he could not unscramble scrambled eggs. Life has made its own adjustments for him. He needed to learn to live in a peaceful world. He admits that many usual things have now become strange and incomprehensible. Well, you go out on the street and everything seems a bit different. Many people said to me, well, I did not send you there. So a lot accumulates in conversation with the family. For example, my wife says, I broke my nail. I reply, so what? And I have a plate here, see? How terrible, she broke a nail. Kostya adapted to a new life for a long time and looked for his place in the world wherever he could. Usually, the military was offered a suitable job, for example, as an instructor in hand-to-hand combat with anti-sabotage training. But he wanted to get away from military matters, whatever it took. He did not want to torment his soul with the terrible memories of this unending war.
Ни одного напоминания о войне. Я когда к ребятам захожу, у них там завешаны фотографии.
I do have not a single relic of the war. When I come to the guys, they have photos, flags, some shells and something else.
Я убил сепаратистов.
I do not need such relics. I do not need a cartridge case. I know what a grad fragment is, or a grenade launcher fragment, because there is one in my leg.
Я не забуду, когда я стоял на мине.
I will not forget when I was standing on a landmine and it exploded. I need no reminders of this.
Не надо напоминать себе об этом.
Kostiantyn appealed for help to the Center for Assistance to the ATO Veterans. He met with volunteer Olga Luhova, who proposed Kostiantyn a way to help him adapt after trauma and return to a peaceful civilian life.
Нужна была сумасшедшая идея, которая увлечет, которая завлечет.
I needed a crazy idea that would carry him away. Kostya is not the first one to whom I proposed a snail business. It is quite easy to enter the business. Not so much money is needed, not as labor-intensive. Someone laughed, someone doubted, but Kostya said, snails, sounds good to me. And that was it.
А Костик очень так, улитки, хорошо, все.
Olga recalls that as soon as they discussed the idea, the very next day Kostya gave her a shovel and said that they were going to build an enclosure.
Приехали сюда, начали копать. Все, моментально. То есть у Костя, конечно, это ураган, он быстрый на подъем.
We came here and began to dig. Kostya was like a hurricane. He was light on his feet and made quick decisions. Such a feature is typical for many guys who return from the war. I had to learn him here, pull him out of his state of unhappiness.
Вот я несчастный.
The parents were very happy that their son had found a new hobby. They still did not understand how the snail business would eventually become profitable, but most of all they were glad that Kostya was happy.
Мы сказали, да, занимайся, занимайся.
We said, yes, do it. It's important if it helps you. He had a new goal in life.
Как вам сказать, цель в жизни. Вот когда мальчики приходят с войны,
when boys come back from war, they're devastated because they did not see anything but death there.
Кроме смертей, они там ничего не видели. И к нашей
So for them it is very difficult to adapt to a peaceful life.
приспосабливаться очень трудно. Это я знаю по Косте. Было очень трудно.
I know this from Kostya. It was very difficult for him to get into this routine.
В эту колею, вот уже в мирную жизнь он очень трудно входил. А появились...
And when he got into the snails, he came back to a new life after the hardships and tragedies of war.
Жизнь начал после войны.
Well, would someone say 5 years ago that I would breed snails? I have guys with whom I fought. They say, well, Kasich and snails? No way. But yes, it brings me pleasure. You must give heart and soul to the business you enjoy. Kostya gathered a team and distributed responsibilities among all. He makes plans, negotiates with partners, and most importantly, he is responsible for the cultivation of mollusks. Olga studies the recipes of dishes with snails. Vyacheslav Bilostotsky is responsible for the enclosures. Vyacheslav, former soldier of the 95th Brigade, used to have problems with finding work due to his severe injuries. And now he is happy that his ability to master certain crafts turned out to be beneficial on a non-standard farm.
Він запропонував до нього працювати з ним.
Kostya offered to work with him. An interesting idea, an interesting thing, why not? This is a business that not many are engaged in, though it is very interesting. You see these snails to which you are used to since childhood. Today, they are key to developing a successful business. Kostya said that they learned on the internet about all the peculiarities of handling snail. They read a lot and became interested in the practice of successful foreign snail farmers. They learned that the enclosure must be very stable.
Максимально вольер защищен от естественных врагов, кротов, там,
The enclosure is maximally protected from natural enemies, namely moles, ticks, birds from above, and hedgehogs. We set this iron 40 centimeters into the ground.
Это металлическое железо мы вкопаем на 40 сантиметров вниз.
Kostya says that Europe is already ordering snails from him. There it is not a delicacy, rather simply a healthy food product that many people enjoy eating. The high content of mineral salts and iron in snails is beneficial for women, useful during pregnancy and feeding their newborn child. Seeing as the meat of snails is free of fat, it is very beneficial for those who suffer from liver disease, atherosclerosis and obesity. My product is absolutely free of chemical. It is pure protein. While Kostiantyn is talking about his pets, his mother in the kitchen is warming up a delicious dish known as escargot de Bourgogne. Escargots are considered a delicacy in France. Expensive French restaurants included it in their menu, and it is served at banquets and receptions as a snack with a cool glass of white wine. Kostiantyn keeps escargot in his refrigerator in both raw and frozen form. Besides grape snails, Kostya breeds giant African snails. They are not edible. Kostya's company plans to use the extracts of these mollusks in cosmetology as a means of curing wrinkles and wounds from burns. In addition to all these benefits, all these mollusks calm a person's central nervous system and help them come to a normal physical state. Something in this life upsets you.
Берешь эту улитку, садишься, то есть смотришь за ней, наблюдаешь.
You take this snail, watch it. This is very reassuring in the first place. Secondly, it soothes and gives you a massage. We notice that the skin is delicate enough. Kostiantyn also dreams of opening an eco farm because it is interesting and profitable for him. In fact, I would breed anything in the outback, from pigs, geese, or even cows. He says that animals, birds, and mollusks are the best psychologists, and if this is turned into a business, then the income can be quite high. If you are not a businessman, says Kostya, get yourself, for example, a four-footed friend. After all, animals are excellent doctors, and after their proper training, they're even capable of pulling a human being out of depression. If such an animal did not wake me up in the morning and chew my shoes, then everything would be perfectly fine. Indeed, they are the best rehabilitologists.